You're trying to sell that perception. You may even be a good person.
Or you may be a piece of shit.
Or you may be a shitty person, but at the end of the day, when you do stuff like that, it's being done for social media. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily being done for the greater good, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Alright, cool. Where did you want to go from here, Melvin?
I wanted to, I was watching, some Rumor Report stuff on the Breakfast Club. I just watch that like every day now. That's just how I keep updated on news and things like that. And, Rachel Dolezal, for those who do not know who Rachel Dolezal is, she is a Caucasian woman, 100% white. I believe
both parents are white.
Both parents are white. I believe she's Swedish and Dutch. I think that's where her lineage comes from.
Yeah.
And she was at one point the head of a chapter of the NAACP. And what was it? You know what it was? I think it was, I don't remember what.
I think it was Florida, but I'm not sure.
I think it was Florida, but she was ahead of she was ahead of one of the chapters of the NAACP, which is a black organization. And then, basically she was outed as being white.
Oh yeah, because she bronzed her skin. She darkened her skin and
she was using
her hair.
Different hair chemicals.
Yeah.
And on the application she put that she was mixed.
Yeah.
She put white and black, and I guess she had some other older black guy pretend to be her dad.
Yep, that happened.
Yeah, and basically there was a big Twitter uproar about this shit. This was in 2015.
Yeah.
So there was a big Twitter uproar about this shit, and basically because of that, she resigned, and then there was some videos made afterwards about her like, oh yeah, I've kind of been struggling to get she's struggling to get a job after that stuff, and the only reason I'm mentioning her now is because, like I said, mentioning the Rumor Report, she's getting a Netflix documentary. So, so she's attempting to bring herself back into relevance. And I don't think she understands how disrespectful it is to black people to claim that you are black, even though you are 100% white. Like, not just claim she identifies as black. There's an actual term. She is a transracialism.
Transracial person.
Yeah, she's a transracial. I added the ism because they always add those. Yeah, she's a transracial person, meaning that basically she is not black, or she identifies as a race that she is not.
Yeah.
And I hate the fact that in some of the older videos she said there was one video that I think that was really big at the time. It was somewhat with the news, and she was the newscaster's like, "Are you African American?" And she looks at him like he's speaking a foreign language, and it's just like
I don't remember that.
Doesn't say anything, and then she just like, I don't understand the question. And she just like, are any of your parents African American? She is just like, she doesn't say anything, just walks off. And it's just like,
hey man, I kind of respect him for not lying straight up. She just didn't answer.
I have zero.
I mean, I respect that one minute thing. Mm-hmm. Just at least don't lie to me and treat me like a fucking idiot.
Well, I don't respect it at all, honestly. Like I said, it's like super fucking disrespectful.
Yeah.
I was watching Vice talk to her like shortly after, like in late 2015, after the event had happened, and the dude who interviewed her was black, and he posed a great question. He was just like, don't you think that's a bit of a... Don't you think that has something that is connected to your privilege as being a white person? That you can say, oh, I'm going to step away from being white and get away with it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because then he gave the example. If the police came in right now looking for a black dude, looking for a black person, I can't be like, oh, you're not looking for me, I'm white. Like, it doesn't work like that. And then, she's still sitting there looking like disrespected and disappointed and something. It was... As a whole, I'm just not a fan of the idea. This is the negative aspects of trying to make everybody equal. You would think that there wouldn't be any negative aspects of it, but it's just like then borders like this get crossed. Like you get people like her who are outright lying to people for their complete change of something, not change of something, change of tone. She directly said that I identify as black. I don't identify as African American. I identify as black.
Meaning what?
Meaning what?
Straight from Africa?
What the fuck does that mean? Exactly. That's the question. What the fuck does that mean?
Because black, when you think about it, only exists in America.
Exactly. So it's like one of those things where that's like me saying, what's it called? That's like me saying, oh, I identify as I identify as Spanish, but I'm not Hispanic American. It's just, no, like it doesn't make any sense because once again, black and African American coincide. I mean, they're like two of the same. It's like two opposing heads on the same coin. Like it's the same thing basically.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say, you know, if you're black, you're African American. If you're African American, you're black. You can't say I'm black and not African American.
Well, actually, about that, Egypt is actually in Africa.
Of course, which I know a lot of people still don't know, but yes, Egypt is in Africa.
So then you can be African American, but not technically black, right? You could kind of be.
I'm talking about strictly African American, you know, like
American African American.
African American.
Okay.
No, not necessarily.
So by our definition in Chicago, between all of us.
Yes, you know what I mean. An African American person is a black person, or a black person is an African American person. And once again, black. The word black person is from the word negro.
Negro from Spanish.
From Spanish, which basically just means black. So
I speak Spanish, but I got
I know. I'm saying for the you know, which means black. So it's like one of those things where you can't. It's a stupid ass thing to fucking say. And honestly, like this chick makes me upset. Like it's like one of those things where it's like, really, like you're.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like I've seen some real Miami Most Wanted ass people.
What do you mean?
You know is that the name of the movie? Miami's Most Wanted. There's a movie where Jamie Kennedy, where like.
Oh, Malibu
Most Wanted, whatever.
Yeah.
Where he was raised by his black like nurse, and he was always watching like black shit, so he genuinely believes that he is black. Mm-hmm. It's just like one of those things where it's like, no, you need to. And at the end of the day, from a legitimate perspective, as far as for a lot of things, black people are the lowest tier in a lot of categories, which sucks. I'm not proud of that statement, but it's like, from a white perspective, why would you want to be black? When there's so much privilege attached to being white.
All right, Melvin, you threw out a lot of ideas, and I was waiting for you to finish so we can break them down.
Let's break them down. We can still go back. So I'm sorry. I
was waiting for you to be like, okay, and that is that. Let's analyze.
That's something clearly I'm passionate about. So
I feel you. That's why I was just letting you.
I appreciate that. Well, go ahead.
All right, where do you want to start? Because we got to break this down, step by step. Do you want to give more context to who exactly this bitch is?
What is there more to say? I mean, she is, like I said, she's a white.
She has a whole Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I mean, I basically said the thing. She's a fully white woman who identifies as black and was a head of the NAACP chapter, but lied to claim to be black. But lied on her application saying that she was of mixed descent. She's actually even changed her name.
Yeah, her name was Nkechi Amar.
No, that is her name. Like that's her current name. Her actual.
known by her previous name, Rachel Dolezal. Yeah. Okay. So she changed it to Nkechi.
Yeah. And I mean, for the sake of context, there's some videos of her.
She was born in Montana.
That's like the whitest country in America.
That's the whitest part. No, wait, what was it? It is the whitest, most agricultural, least densely populated area in our country.
Exactly. So it's like the whitest place you could live.
Literally.
With the most type of white people. With the most with legit Southern white people.
She was the president of the NAACP.
Ooh, no disrespect like that.
NAACP chapter of Spokane. Yeah. Oh my god, that just brings me back to something. Just real quick. Do you remember when Charlamagne gave Donkey of the Day to that one chick? For, I think it was last year, the NAACP championships. You don't remember that?
Nah.
Oh, dude,
are you talking about that Whoa Vicky chick?
No. It was a
She sucks too.
I don't even know who that is.
Whoa Vicky's just some, I think she's I don't know what she does, honestly. I don't know where she gets her money from, but she got money, and, she's just some, white girl who clearly fucked a lot of black dudes when she was in high school. And hung around a lot of black people, so she speaks like a ghetto black person. You know what I mean? Like a ghetto person. Let's not say ghetto black. It's actually.
So somebody that
she's like Instagram. She's like Instagram famous.
Okay, before we get to all that, we gotta stay focused because we go all over the place.
You're right. Let's stay focused.
All right, Rachel Dolezal, president of the NAACP chapter of Spokane, Washington, from 2014 to 2015. Her European parents stated publicly that Dolezal was a white woman passing as black. She had been the victim of 9 hate crimes. What else? Another thing, she's crazy. Did you know that?
She's crazy. Crazy is a demeaning term.
She is insane. Dolezal married Kevin Moore, a black man, in 2000. Moore, a medical student at Howard University at the time of their marriage, was divorced from Dolezal in 2004. He has accused Dolezal of lying and poisoning his relationship with their son. In 2010, with the consent of her parents, she obtained legal guardianship of her adopted brother, Isaiah, who was 16 years old. So basically, she kind of treated her husband like a piece of shit, and then, like, treated their son like a piece of shit. So she's an insane human being. Like, regardless of race, gender, everything. She's just kind of fucked up in the head. And I think maybe that's what it is, but I don't really...
In the midst of all this negativity, I'm gonna give I'm gonna give some props. Yeah.
You got keys.
I'm gonna give some props. She does care about, because of her in her hysteria that she thinks that she's a black person. She's very caring about the black agenda, which I think is great. I love the fact that she's willing to help. I just hate the fact that
she's trying to be black rather than being an ally.
Yeah, rather than being, she's trying to be a member instead of being a teammate. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make sense. You get it?
No, okay. I thought that was something I wanted to ask you as well. Does it not, like, obviously the whole "I am black" idea obviously is a little too much, but wouldn't you want, like, all the help you can get against these rich white billionaire motherfuckers?
Yeah, I mean, of course, but it's like one of those things where it's like a step forward and then 3 steps back. Where it's just like, yeah, she wants to raise money for black like schools and all this other stuff, but she's out here like just.
So like, play your position. You can't be a quarterback. Stop it. Go away.
Yeah,
go be a tight end or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it. You know, you can't do everything in the field. Like, she want to help the black people, be the black people, marry the black people. It's like no. Like, there's no limit to how much. And it doesn't look good. Honestly, it doesn't.
So it kind of waters it down a little bit.
Yeah, honestly, because it's like one of those things where it's some people I could consider it flattering to an extent.
Yeah, because somebody wants to be you.
You know, because black people are the most copied, imitated people in the fucking in all of in America.
In America,
in America, and in a lot of other places too. You know what I mean? Prime example. This is a little tangent. I watched a Vice documentary. The skinhead movement, not neo-Nazi skinheads. The original skinhead movement in the '80s were basically just a bunch of British dudes who really liked reggae music. You know what I mean? Like, it had nothing to do with...
Yeah, explain that.
The original skinhead movement has nothing to do with neo-Nazism. It has nothing to do with, like, racists and anti-Semites and shit like that. Like, that's kind of what it evolved into. Original skinheads were... it was like one of the many, like, groups of things that occurred in the 80s where, it was, like I said, it was just a bunch of European guys who fucking really liked black music and mainly reggae, but
why did they have to shave their heads and be like, yo, kill black people?
They weren't doing that, you know. It was like they really just like black music.
So then somebody else...
somebody kind of adopted the idea of the skinhead and kind of turned it into this racist symbol now that we see it as.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought...
You want to ask your friend about this?
No. I thought, what's it called? I thought the skinheads were already,
Okay, never mind.
What's it called? I initially thought that the skinhead thing was always some racist shit, but apparently it wasn't always some racist shit. It just evolved into some racist shit.
So somebody that was racist kind of took it.
Yeah, somebody white. You know, like white people do a great job of taking things that don't belong to them. So somebody white. Some
vibranium.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody white came in, took this sign of like, I guess you could honestly call it a sign of like black appreciation and flip it on its head. You know what I mean? And turn it into something else.
I think she was just a confused person. Now I kind of want to take it a step further. How do you feel about somebody being transracial? Just not black to white, just anything.
I'm not super comfortable with that idea.
So somebody from China saying, "Yo, I'm Puerto Rican."
It takes away from your cultural value, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, people, and it's like one of those things where you can't adopt someone else's culture. You can't adopt someone else's culture, but you can't adopt someone else's traditions. Like,
of course you could. You can pray 5 times a day.
Of course you can, no doubt. But what I'm trying to say is, it's one of those things where it's like
you can't have the dark skin with the, fucking dry hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like one of those things where you can't. I'm not a fan of the idea that you can take on somebody's. Like I said, I feel like it takes away from the culture as a whole. If I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm not black. What's it called? Oh yeah, I'm not black. I'm
Jewish.
I'm Puerto Rican. Right?
Okay.
Which is, I mean, people like to say they're close, but they're still different. It's
Yeah.
like one of those things. It's like still one of those things where it's like, I'm saying that, but I have none of the social ties. Like, I have none of the.
So you just woke up one day.
I just woke up one day. I'm just like, yeah, you know what? A lot of my friends are Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican. You know what?
I don't know Spanish, but I'm gonna start.
Yeah, but you know what?
I'm gonna start listening to Daddy Yankee for real.
Yeah, or I wake up one day. I'm like, you know what? Chinese. Like
okay.
I used to watch a lot of action movies. I'm Chinese. Fuck that. I watch a lot of anime. I'm Japanese. Like just because I watch, it's like one of those things where there's a all these cultures have a strong background, just lots of interesting things in their background.
Aside from American white.
Exactly, aside from American, even American white, you know what I mean? There's lots of interesting things. Of course, a lot of it involves stealing from other people and genocide and all that stuff like that, but there are some positive things about it that you would want to be proud of. It's just like
hunting? I don't know.
Just say in general, like regardless of the culture, not just
whiteness,
regardless of the culture.
Okay.
There's aspects of your culture that you want to be proud of, and if somebody's just like, yeah, I'm going to take on that culture, and I feel like it takes away from. That's just how I feel personally.
But who does it take away from? The culture they're trying to take in?
It takes away from the culture they're trying to take in because it's one it takes like I said, if I try to be Chinese, that doesn't it doesn't work well.
Okay, so then let's say you are a baby, you get sent to China with your parents move you, whatever the fuck. And you're raised by a Chinese family, only speak Chinese. How Chinese are you? That's the only thing you know.
I mean, that's this is
obviously an extreme example.
Yeah, that's not an extreme example. That's a really reasonable example. That's why with all the like Angelina Jolie and the other dude go ahead. Angelina Jolie and all the other guys, they adopted all of the fucking.
All the fucking babies of the world.
Yeah, basically all the fucking babies of the world, and that happens all the time. You just get. When I was in high school, one of my professors, shitty ass dude, some old white guy. One of his daughters they adopted her from China. Like she was adopted from China. Another one of his daughters is from like India or something like that. It's just like. So does that mean that if I was raised with white parents, does that mean that it basically just. I think there's a way that you can still connect with who you really are, in addition to who you've been raised to be.
Okay, and Rachel Dolezal just did it the absolute wrong way. I think we could definitely agree on that.
Exactly. And once again, you know how many perks there are of being white in America?
You don't get stopped by the police as much.
You often don't hear about what's called white people randomly being shot on the street because they're reaching for their phones. Or because they're reaching for their wallets, or because they're just being shot on the street randomly.
Let's see what else. You're more mainstream if you're an artist, automatically. Let's see another thing. If you do some real bad shit, you won't get nearly as much jail time. They'll try to write you off as mentally disabled to get you off. Alright, but I don't want to shit on Caucasian people.
I'm not shitting on Caucasian people. These are good things. We're saying all the benefits of being white. Like you can be a shitty person and then get away with that. That's a prime benefit of being white. You can be a shitty person and still get away with it, and not have to necessarily suffer the consequence of being a shitty person. You know what I mean?
Okay, no, I get you. I think both of us are kind of wording it weird.
Yeah, I agree.
We definitely should have tried making a better wording of it.
Nah, son, I stand by everything I said.
We just mansplained right. That's okay.
Yeah,
exactly. This is why we do this.
But as a whole, like I said,
fuck Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, fuck Rachel Dolezal. But at the same time, I'm gonna give her some props because I appreciate the fact that she's worried and concerned about the black agenda. Clearly, she got fucked by enough black people over the course of her life that it made her want to embrace this culture where she's interested in what's best for us. But I still think at the same time, it's a major act of disrespect. Just to say that, just to basically use your whiteness
to be black.
to not be white. That's basically what she's doing. You know what I mean? That's why she can get away. I feel like that's why she can get away with a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that, bro. I'm gonna definitely have to disagree. I don't think it's because she's white. I don't think it's because she was white. She could be black. Somebody from Mexico probably could have done the same shit, right?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think somebody from would have the.
I
don't think they would let them don't think the greater society had what's called white and would allow something like that to happen.
So then that kind of brings up, Afro-Latino.
Which is a very real thing.
Yeah, so then what would you call that?
I mean, that's not. I mean, because
or is that just in that gray area that we're still trying to figure out?
That's it.
I
feel like that falls into that gray area that we're still trying to find out. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of Hispanic people who aren't actually Hispanic. Who are Hispanic now, but if you go back 400 years, you know what I mean? They are descendants of. They have African lineage.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I told you about it, right?
You did. You told me. I mean, I already knew it, but
yeah,
you definitely mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I want to do my DNA test too, because for those that don't know, the 9 million African slaves that were taken from Africa, literally half of them, 4.5 million, ended up in the Caribbean. So 10 small-ass islands.
So yeah, that's why you got Jamaicans, but that's also why you have Puerto Ricans and Cubans and
Haitians
like that. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, Haitians are still kind of called the black category, but
they're
you know what I mean. Haitians are basically Africans, but not Africans because Haiti is in Africa.
Yeah,
it's just. But yeah, it's just I feel like it just falls in that gray area because it's
So then, where do you think we go from here? Do you think at some point somebody's like, okay, we understand you're not white, but you can take on all of our problems?
Yeah, that's.
Did I word that right? We understand you're not black, but you can take on the black struggle.
I mean, like I said, like you mentioned earlier, I guess any help to the cause could be good, but at the same time, too much of anything good is bad. And it's just like it's different if you have a bunch of white people standing alongside black people and saying us as white people are going to support you, which we do have a lot of. But I'm saying that's okay, but then it's gonna get a little muddy when we have a bunch of white people who are just like, oh, don't discriminate against me because I'm a transracial person. So yes, both my parents are white and I have 3 white siblings, but in my heart, truly in my heart, I am black. Then that's where things will get a little muddy. But at this point, I feel like Rachel Dolezal is the biggest example. It's like one of the biggest mainstream and only example of this issue.
Of just taking it too far.
Just taking it a bit too far. You know what I mean? And we've given examples of her taking it too far with lying on her applications, like straight up. You know what I mean? And
bronzing her skin.
And what does it say? There was an interview with one of her brothers where he was just like, oh yeah, I remember when she started using this different hair product to just not make so her hair wasn't straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?